Children that are born in America are now more likely to die before reaching adulthood than children born in other wealthy countries, according to a new study. Now, this research that was published in the Journal of Health Affairs on a couple of weeks ago shows that the United States lags far behind peer countries on child health outcomes. So, how bad is it? Well, it's pretty bad. Now, the study estimates that since 1961, America's poor performance accounts for more than 600,000 excess child deaths. Deaths that wouldn't have happened if these kids were born into other wealthy countries. But wait a minute here. I thought America was number one. I thought we had an entire political party, that was dedicated to protecting the children, right? Well, it turns out that the policies of that party are the cause of this disparity. Now, let me get to more information here. This is from Ashish Thakrar, the study's lead author. He said that in all the wealthy democratic countries that we studied, children are dying less often than they were 50 years ago. But we found that children are dying more often in the United States than any other similar country. And if that's not disastrous enough, it also coincides with data from another study that shows that overall life expectancy in America has declined for the past 2 years. So we're dying sooner, and more children are dying before reaching adulthood. So people who are already adults are dying sooner, and then less children are making it to adulthood. That's disastrous. Now, between 2001 and 2010, for example, researchers found that the risk of death in the United States was 76% higher for infants than in peer countries. Now, look, you could blame that on, like a lot of people would want to blame they'll want to blame Trump, right? And they'll want to blame the Republicans specifically. Actually, this goes back between the Bush years and some of the Obama years. So it's not just Republican administrations, it's also Democratic administrations, because we have not had a focus on things like universal health care. We have not had a focus on making sure that we stop childhood poverty. In fact, neoliberal pro-conservative economics, combined with trickle-down and things like that, that's been preventing us from actually solving these problems. Now, if you're somebody who is pro-life, you should be absolutely outraged by this, right? I mean, again, if you want to protect children, you want to make sure children survive into adulthood, and you call yourself pro-life, you're like, I want to protect the kids, I want to protect the babies, right? Well, 76% of children are likely to die before getting into adulthood than in other countries. This isn't America. This isn't some third world shithole, as President Trump would call it, right? No, this is America, where we're supposed to look after the kids, where we're supposed to be the best country at everything, but it's obvious we're not. So why aren't pro-life people out there demanding, more anti-poverty programs and things like that, Medicare for all, universal health care, things like that? Well, they're not. Now, I said to other countries, right? So let's look at some of the other countries and show and do a comparison of where we stand. The New Health Affairs study compared the United States to 19 other wealthy democratic countries, including Canada, Australia, France, Sweden, and the United Kingdom. Now, it found that all 20 countries have seen declines in childhood deaths since the 1960s. That's a good trend. At the same time, it shows the United States is actually ranking worse in childhood deaths since the 1960s. Now, I alluded to the reason before. Now, look, we know the reason, but I'm going to guess that people who are, right-wing pro-life, they're going to find another reason, right? Abortion. No, it's not. It doesn't have anything to do with about abortion. It actually has to do with everything that happens after they're born. This is a result of our healthcare system. In fact, the author of the study, Thakrar, argues that this is most likely has to do with America's fragmented healthcare system. He says, mothers who are qualifying for Medicaid for the first time because their mothers might be seeing doctors for the first time. They might not have a family physician or a clear support system. You know what to fix that? Medicare for all. Hey, pro-lifers, you want to save the children? Hop on board, man. I want to save the children. I want to save the children who are already born. We can do that. Medicare for all. Let's push Medicare for all together. Let's all get together. Now, there's more than just healthcare that's a factor, of course. The CRAR also points to the rise in childhood poverty in the 1980s that coincided with the United States falling behind its peer countries on health outcomes. So the great Reagan deregulation, the great Reagan conservatism push, right, in the 1980s, that's when we started falling off the board. That's also when corporations started to get even more wealthy, more money went into our politics, and less people started having good outcomes. Poverty became even worse. All had to do with, of course, Ronald Reagan, right? And the rise of right-wing conservatism, as we see now. Okay, look, if you're pro-life, well, let's get together and let's help increase programs and that alleviate poverty, right? I have a feeling that they're not interested in doing that, right? They're not interested. The only thing they're interested in is preventing abortion. Well, there's something we can do on that too. How about we make sure that there are programs out there for families that are in poverty? So, to help them take care of their kids so they're less likely to abort. So, look, doing these programs would actually help twofold, right? You would prevent abortions based on monetary concerns, and you would help children that are already poor to not die from being poor. And not only are small children dying from lack of health care, but teenagers are also dying at a higher rate too. But like the other reasons, this is also completely preventable. In fact, children between ages of 15 and 19, according to the study, are now 82 times more likely to die from gun homicide in the United States than in peer countries. So that's 82 more times. 82. And you want to talk about a disaster, right? That is both shocking and not surprising at the same time. Look, in America, we have more guns than people, right? Children can get a hold of those guns very, very easily. Look at a lot of the school shootings that are happening. Take your pick of mass shootings. There are plenty to choose from. Now in America, it's pretty normal for groups of 4 or 5 people to get randomly gunned down at any time. The only time that it makes news all day now is when over 50 people get gunned down in one setting. That's something we can actually do something about. That is another cause of why people are not living, why children are being killed. Children are dying and teenagers are dying, and while we're not living as long as other countries. Other countries have stronger gun control measures, and they have far, far less mass shootings, and they have far, far less homicides. So, look, if you're interested in doing something about it, then maybe you should help us get some common sense gun control passed. No, I don't mean taking away all your guns. I mean actually doing something that will help prevent guns from falling into the hands of people that shouldn't have them, or into the hands of the children who don't know what they're getting into. We're more likely to see a toddler shoot somebody or shoot themselves in America now. That's insane. That's insane. Look, I'm trying to appeal to you guys here. But again, I don't think that I'm being very successful. Pro-lifers, you guys are very, very conservative. And if anything, a lot of conservatives have shown that they don't care about children after they're born, especially if they end up becoming a drain on the system. And I've seen this argument over and over again. Why should I end up paying for other people's kids? Well, maybe it's because you made abortion not an option, or you're trying to make abortion not an option. Well, then I guess those people shouldn't have had sex. That's not a solution. There are no solutions on that side. And besides, look, if you don't want people to have sex, then we've got a solution for that as well. Comprehensive sex education and access to contraceptions has been shown to reduce accidental teen pregnancies. Teens are actually having less sex than they had before. And of course, you'll probably want to blame that on smartphones. But you know what? Maybe that's a good part of smartphones, that they're not tempted to have as much sex. But no, look, I'm not going to see people who are receptive to that message. And look, if you are, that's wonderful. Then work with us, right? But all too often what I see in response to this is, look, we don't want your socialized medicine. We don't want your gun control. That's un-American. You communist. No. And the horrible thing is that while they're making these arguments, all of these things, plus opioid addiction, for example, is killing them. And look, maybe I'm being unfair. Maybe I'm doing way, way too much generalizing. If so, prove me wrong. Work with us and actually get these policies through and actually help. Because this study, nobody wants to live in a country where your children are 70% more likely to die before reaching adulthood than any other country. And we're supposed to be the best. We're supposed to be the wealthiest. We're supposed to be the most developed and the most advanced country on earth. Well, you know what? We sure as hell are not acting like it. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.